Hey guys, welcome to 6 Minutes for Tuesday, August 2nd. Today I had the opportunity to catch up with Alabama Wrestling Forums, also known as Bama Wrestle, Jaxon Pablo Bast. Jaxon just headed back up to college to wrestle at Bluefield, and but he was in town in Birmingham this past weekend for Deep South duels, Deep South Nationals, that sort of thing. And got an opportunity to catch up with him real quick, talk a little bit about the tournament and who stood out to him. Obviously, Jaxon talks a little bit about the Tennessee guys, but because the Tennessee mid-Tennessee Maulers ran to the title, but and also talks a little bit about the Alabama wrestlers. But I want to go ahead and give a shout out to some other wrestlers, especially some Florida and Georgia wrestlers like Braden Mitchell, JJ Peace from South Carolina, Jarvis Little, Yazdani, Bradley Williams from Alabama, Cody Kirk, Tyler Nelson, Brady Jarvis, Alex Smith from Yulee, I believe down in Florida, David Mercado from North Bay Haven. They all ended up unbeaten in the duels. Which is fantastic. There were others that also remained unbeaten, but again, I'm not going to try to list every single person. But we touched on a bunch of names. I hope you enjoy the conversation. I also tried to put in a few highlights because we make mention of Jaxon being able to post those on the Instagram. If you don't follow him, Bama Wrestle, you should definitely, because he'll have a bunch of different videos and things along those lines. So I hope you enjoy it. Good conversation. Looks like it was great competition. And here's my conversation with Jaxon Pablo Bast. All right, here with Jaxon Pablo Bast. Hey, Jaxon, how's it going?
It's going well. About yourself?
I'm okay. I didn't spend a lot of time in the car today driving back to college, so I'm sure you're a little tired.
Just a little bit. Had enough energy to get a good workout in once I got down here. So,
Oh, good.
This.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So were you home for the summer and dropped into Deep South Duels before heading back up, or did you just go down for the tournament?
No. I was there the whole summer. It just happened to be at the very end of my tenure in Alabama. So.
All right. So for everybody who doesn't know, like Jaxon was at the Deep South Duels and or Deep South Nationals, or a lot of it's the duels, but whatever. And I was really interested in getting a first person perspective. I saw a ton of your clips on Instagram and everywhere else. So awesome. You're so much better at it than I am. And I really was just interested in kind of what your takeaways were. So what's the biggest takeaway that you had from the weekend?
Well, I would say number one that really impressed me was how the Middle Tennessee Maulers, I think was the name of the team. They came and they were ready to take it. Last year, I believe it was Morris Fitness that came in first, and they were the returning champs. So I was very expecting. I mean, they made the finals, but it was, Middle Tennessee took it to them.
Yeah, and I didn't get to watch it, right? Because I'm kind of removed at the moment. I'm gonna go back and watch it on Flow and track. But looking at the scores, the Maulers did exactly what you just said. They mauled everyone.
Oh yeah, no, it was an absolute insane tournament for those guys, and they came and they were ready to wrestle that day. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, so we're actually talking about specifically the duels, and just so everybody kind of gets an idea. I wrote them down. They had 62-6, 68-12, 67-3, 66-8. Those were the numbers they were putting up. I think they had the Urachucks were unbeaten down low. They had Jake Stacy and Logan Heckert and Kendrick Curtis up top who were unbeaten. Yeah, were they as impressive in person as what they look like when they were like the scores that I see?
Oh yeah, I mean that team had so much energy. It's like, obviously there's so much you see in a win at a duel. People get excited, yeah, but when there's like that boom after boom after boom of excitement, it was just a very electrifying atmosphere.
That's cool. That's awesome. So, you do cover Alabama. You did just talk about Tennessee and Morse Fitness, which is out of Georgia. How the Alabama was there an Alabama team that did okay or?
So there wasn't. I think the highest Alabama team place was 10th. I believe that was Alabama Elite White. Which I want to take a second and shout out Sam Sutton. And it was funny because it didn't really come into perspective until I was talking to Kennedy Wyatt about it. But that kid was the coach of that team. They didn't have an actual coach, so he coached. He pulled that team together and coached. And it takes a really good servant leader like Sam to go wrestle. He was wrestling some really, really good guys. Sam Sutton, already a stud, state finalist. He went in there, he took a couple nicks, he took a couple losses, but to come right back after that and still be able to coach all of his teammates, I mean, I got to give some props to that kid.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I mean, that you're right. I mean, it's tough to take a loss. I mean, because I think he wrestled like 152 or something, which was a deep weight. Some really
Oh
good
yeah.
wrestlers. He did well, but you're right. It take a loss and then to bounce back and to kind of come back for your team and coach. That's pretty impressive.
Oh yeah. So I would say that team I think placed 10th. Well trained, which was out of Florida, had the all the Poe brothers from Demarcus, Isaiah, Deshaun, and Melton were all on that team representing Alabama with well trained, and I believe well trained placed. I can't believe fifth or sixth. I wasn't sure the final score of that when they faced Morse Fitness, but that was very impressive. Oh, and they also had Kennedy Wyatt, but it was impressive because they didn't have a 220 or a heavyweight, and they still placed in the top six. So,
Yeah, well, and I mean, I guess that's an indication of how well the rest of the team wrestled when you're giving up those 12 points. So that's impressive. All right. So anything else that stood out?
I mean, I would say that what I was really really excited about seeing was the depth of you. I mean, I just so happened to wander because I was trying to get some more Alabama guys, and I was going through over where the bronze pool was happening, and I know some of the people saw the clip on my Instagram of Joshua Johansson and Cole Sykes, but that
Mm-hmm.
was a bronze pool match.
Wow.
Like, so that wasn't even happening in the gold medal bracket. Those are two. I think that was the Beach Bums and Alabama Elite Gold were wrestling each other, and that was, I mean, that was an exciting match too.
Well, and I think what you said was that Cole handled that match. I mean, you won like 10-2 or something, right?
He did, and yeah, I call Joshua Johansson. I've seen him all over the place. He's a human highlight reel. Like I'll see him do some weird acrobatic stuff to flip out of moves. But and don't get me wrong, Johansson is a tough wrestler, but Sykes was just able to move right out of the way and get those points, those easy points, like you saw in that one video where you get in that very quick scramble, but he was very precise in his movements.
I'm sure everybody already follows you, especially in Alabama on Instagram. But it's what at Bama Wrestle, is that right?
Bama wrestle, yeah.
Yeah, Bama Wrestle. So I know you took some clips and you got some clips and were able to post those. That's actually how I followed along to be able to kind of see some of the things that you're alluding to. So
Mm-hmm.
that's awesome. Did you see any other matches that were similar to Sykes Johansson that you were interested in that weren't necessarily in the gold pool? You know?
I didn't get to see a lot of silver pool play. I was mostly following around Alabama Elite Gold and well trained with the pose and a lot of those Alabama guys. Um, I think it was one of the more exciting matches that I caught the tail end of was Kirk Smitherman had he got injured right before the state tournament. Didn't really get to wrestle any off season tournaments. Comes up, I think he only lost one or two matches the entire weekend. And his last match, it was very back down to the wire. Like this kid must have been. It was a team from Texas, and this kid must have been like insanely strong because he was beating Kirk 6-1 going into the second, and then it was 8-2 going into the third. And I mean, it was pretty close. And then Kirk like turned it on at the very end. He cut him, kind of like Thomas Gilman, Ethan Lysak kind of took him down, cut him, took him like he took it to him to the last period, but he ended up coming out on top with 1 point. I think it was like 2 seconds left that he got that takedown.
Wow, that's quite a comeback with the in the last period. Wow.
Oh yeah, and I think that's the way that guy really was able to kind of cap off his high school career. You know, he's going to West Virginia Tech up in Beckley, but it's a really
Yeah.
cool match.
Is that a rival of your guys's or no?
Yeah, no, we kind of go back and forth. They beat us the year before I got there, and then we've beaten them the last 2 years. But it's a pretty close duel, and they're only 45 minutes north of us. So,
Yeah, so kind of in your backyard, you guys kind of see
oh
each other.
yeah,
So you'll see Kirk again, I'm sure.
oh yeah, oh yeah.
Very cool. Awesome. So you mentioned the pose. I know Isaiah and Melton both wrestled really well. They both were unbeaten. Um I didn't see DeMarcus or Deshaun. Any other Alabama wrestlers kind of stand out to you?
Um. Oh, well, I guess another really big match for the Alabama guys would have been when Sam Sutton and Deshaun wrestled. I think the ending score that one was 14-8, but it was kind of like when we saw Corey Land and Isaiah Poe wrestle, where it was a really close match, but like all the points went one way. Like it was a lot closer than the score reflected. So,
Yeah, that's
but that
cool.
those are some really those are some of the guys who I saw stand out over the weekend. Were the guys I named.
Cool, cool. Well, I just want to go through there. I noticed Wallace Blue was unbeaten, which was awesome for the Huntsville crew. I saw at least one of the Simons had maybe just a single loss, which was really pretty cool. And then there were a bunch of, I mean, the Mid Tennessee Maulers, they were fantastic, but there were other Tennessee kids that, Jarvis Little and Ryan Smith up at heavyweight, and those individuals who wrestled extremely well as well. And then some Georgia kids. I know Level Up had a bunch of kids in the same weight and that sort of thing. What did you think of the level of competition?
Oh my God. I remember. So I guess it would have been probably 2016. There wasn't a Deep South duel. It was the Oak Grove Invitational. And you had one or two guys maybe in a weight that were good. But I would say that as this tournament has progressed over the years, it has just been better and better and better. Like this year, I say was the hardest that this tournament's ever been.
Yeah, yeah,
Easily.
no, I agree with you. I looking through the names of there were Florida kids there Georgia kids there were Tennessee kids there, obviously Alabama. JJ Peace from South Carolina, who's an absolute hammer, was on one of the Georgia teams. I know Georgia had a couple of Virginia studs come in and wrestle for Morris Fitness.
I did. I saw
Texas,
a
you
couple
mentioned
of.
Texas, so yeah, I
Mm.
mean some really good teams. What were you gonna say? I'm sorry.
Oh no, I mean I saw the very patented SR of Stanton River, which is
Hmm.
right outside of Roanoke, and that was, I mean that I don't know too much about, although I know a little bit about Virginia wrestling. Stanton River, they had this whole freshman crew this past year that has been absolutely insane.
Yeah,
I mean that's a whole other conversation.
yeah, no, I agree with you, and I think there was also even a couple of like an Illinois team that was involved and everything else. So it looks like the level of competition has gotten better and better and better over the last few years, which is awesome. What are you going to end with in telling me about the tournament since I wasn't there? If you were going to share a couple last things with me.
I would say I'm really sorry you missed it because that was an amazing tournament. I was very impressed with the level of competition that you saw, and even like I said, even the bottom, from bottom to top, you weren't gonna get an easy match. Everybody was there. That yeah, I mean, I didn't see a very quick match happen. I'll tell you that.
Awesome.
And I would say that anybody who's interested should definitely come and wrestle at that tournament. That was an amazingly run tournament.
Awesome. Yeah. No, I think it's great. I think that the opportunities are there, and it's really great that they're involved. So I'd like, as many kids as possible to get involved. There were kids who wrestled in Fargo who, 2 weeks later now are at this tournament competing. So that's pretty cool. All right, man. Well, I want to thank you for jumping on with me, and yeah, we'll maybe catch up. We're gonna talk a little bit about some Alabama wrestling in a couple months. Does that work for you?
Oh yeah, I'm excited.
All right, man. You take care.
Of course, you too.
Peace.